RNC co-chair Lara Trump. I have a tiny feeling Lara might have some opinions about this. You know, everybody's we're looking toward this. We know we don't expect a fair debate. I don't think we can get one from the legacy media. What are you expecting when it comes to that setup and how, of course, J.D. Vance will perform in the midst of it really probably being 3 against 1 again?
Yeah, well, that was certainly, Tammy, the case with the ABC News debate, no doubt, 3 against 1. But listen, I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure on Tim Walz for this debate. This guy is a bit of an unknown to a lot of people. It would appear that they are using the same basement strategy that obviously they have used for Kamala Harris, that they used for Joe Biden, for Tim Walz. People really haven't gotten to know him that much. He hasn't done a ton of media. And so this is a very big deal, this debate for him on Tuesday night. He also has to answer for the record of Kamala Harris or the disaster that really has ensued since she and Joe Biden took the White House. That is going to be pretty tough for him. On the other side, you have J.D. Vance, who obviously has a running mate with a great record in Donald Trump. So despite the fact that you're probably right, it probably will be a 3 against 1 debate, as we all expect. I actually think that there's going to be a lot of weight and a lot of pressure on Tim Walz to really show up and perform. And I'm just going to say good luck to him, because I don't know how you answer for all the disasters that have been caused by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
And speaking of that, not only from what they represent as essentially the incumbents, he's got his own issues, right? The connections to the CCP, multiple visits to China, the nature of what that means, which he's not been very clear on. Also, the tampons in boys' bathrooms. You know, how do you explain that? What is the point of that? What is he, you know, where is he standing on that kind of an issue? So it's almost, I don't know if the moderators are going to bring these things up, if Mr. Vance can bring those things up. What do you anticipate in that regard?
Yeah, I certainly think that you're going to see Senator Vance talk about those things quite a bit. Maybe he'll ask Tim Walz directly, how did you feel about Kamala Harris going down to the border last week for her photo op? Do you still feel like you want to build the 35-foot wall because the border wall, 35-foot ladder for the 30-foot border wall? There are a lot of questions, and I think what you've seen with J.D. Vance is he really has been tested in a lot of very tough interviews, and I think that is also going to be apparent tomorrow night. What you've seen with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is extreme transparency. These are two individuals who want you to get to know them, who want you to hear from them on their policy standpoints, and want to be very clear and direct with the American people. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, on the other hand, obviously have done the opposite, and they are trying desperately to stay out of the limelight, to stay away from answering questions and not really talk about much. So I expect that J.D. Vance probably will do plenty of fact-checking, despite the fact that the CBS moderators are not going to do any.
Yes. Now, they say they are going to do it online. They say they're going to do it in their pre-show and their post-show. I mean, but I have a feeling, though, sometimes you can have an impact by being passive-aggressive, by not asking about something, by moving people out of the way about where you go with something, or saying, oh, we're running out of time, and that's not what, that kind of interruption. I would expect that to happen. But what you've said is correct about J.D. Vance and his experience in dealing with aggressive media, with having to answer questions, already being under attack. Walz has had none of that from the legacy media. And that helps kind of burnish you to be able to know what to expect and how to behave in a crisis, because, or at least certainly under pressure. Isn't that what the debates are about, is really facing a pressure kind of question framework that you need to really explain in details to the American people? Isn't that the point?
Absolutely. And to clarify your view on so many things, which, Tammy, we haven't gotten at all from Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. We really don't know, as the American public and as voters, where they are on a lot of issues. There is a lot of talking in circles. There's a lot of talking about an optimistic outlook and vibes and great lawns for people and a middle-class upbringing. That doesn't do anything for the American people, and that doesn't give you confidence as a voter that I can go out there and vote for you. You have that on the other side with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. They're incredibly clear. But yes, you got to test people under pressure, and they have to explain themselves. I hope we hear somebody at least press Tim Walz on that a little bit tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think that was the impact of the ABC debate, is that even though she was held up and protected, there were no details. There was no.
Yeah.
So Walz is, pretty much, I think, Kamala Harris in a flannel shirt. I think that's what we might have. All right, Lara Trump, great job. An exciting month coming up. Good luck to you. Prayers up for you and your family as well. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Tammy.